What's on guys, we're back with a brand new video. In today's video, we're ticking off the gather round predictions. Now this looks like it's going to be a fantastic round. Sadly, I'm not going to gather round, and if you are, I'm jealous because, you know, still, I think it's just the third year of gather round, still haven't gone. So without further ado, let's kick off some of the first matches. So the first match is Adelaide versus Carlton, Thursday night footy to kick off gather round. I'm pretty sure this was the match that kicked off gather round last year. And this could be the end of Michael Voss. And my prediction is this. I don't think it'll be the end of Michael Voss yet. I don't think they'll fire him just quite yet. But this is going to be a key reason for them to, especially if they do lose this, you know, if they give up a big lead, like if they lead this match by like 30 points and end up choking it, that's going to be really bad for Michael Voss. Or if they get beaten by, you know, 60 plus points, that could also be a deciding reason for him too. So I reckon Adelaide get the job done here. They need to get back on the winners list. They have something to prove. And yeah, I reckon they get the job done by about 30 points, I'm going to say. That's we're back at Friday night footy. It's Collingwood versus Fremantle. It seems like the up and coming side in Fremantle against a team that, you know, there's some unknowns about with Collingwood. They've had some really good performances. They've had some really bad performances. It's hard to really gauge where they are. They seem like they're probably a wild card team this year. And Fremantle look destined to be a top 4 side. So for that reason, I think Fremantle get the job done here. And I reckon it's going to be a close one. I reckon under 10 points. Then we move on to Saturday football. North Melbourne versus Brisbane at the Barossa Park. Pretty sure this was the same as last year. But North seem like they're on a different side this year. They actually are higher on the ladder than the Brisbane Lions are. And I think that this will be a really good game. I think it will be one of the actual games of the round. I'm pretty sure North actually gave a really strong crack last year. But I feel like Brisbane are going to be too strong. After they started, I think 0-3 Brisbane, they've really, you know, come back strong. And yeah, I think that they will pick up the win. But I think it will be, again, under 10 points. That's my prediction. Move on to Essendon versus Melbourne. One of the most exciting teams in the comp in Melbourne this year. Seem like they're destined to be a wildcard team also. And Essendon, you know, they actually did put in a really good second half against the Western Bulldogs, but still, I'm pretty sure it's because the Bulldogs took their foot off the ladder, which Luke Beveridge wouldn't have been happy about. But either way, that was a key reason, and I think Melbourne are going to get the job done here. I really love watching Melbourne play football. Cozzy, just so exciting. But I reckon it will be, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to say 30 points. I think it's going to be a really strong game for Melbourne. Move on to Sydney versus the Gold Coast Suns. Sydney been pretty strong, probably one of the most consistent teams in the comp, and Gold Coast haven't put a foot wrong apart from last week where they played so poorly against Melbourne, which was really a surprise. I know they don't usually play away games as well as they do at home, but that was really disappointing. There's a rumours that Christian Petrarca could be coming back in this game, but I don't think they'll risk him. I think it'll be one more week, and even if he does come back here, I reckon he'll be on reduced minutes for any super coaches out there. But I think Sydney going to get the job done, even though I think this will be an absolute cracker at Norwood Oval, which is disappointing. I probably want this to be an Adelaide time slot, but I'm going to say Sydney get the job done in a close one, under 6 points. Move on to Hawthorn versus the Western Bulldogs. This seems destined to be a great game also. The Western Bulldogs, undefeated, the only undefeated team in the comp. Hawthorn coming over one of the best games of the year against Geelong, and this is going to be a great game. I do think the Bulldogs going to get the job done here. I just feel like they're just in such good form now. They're at least the only thing you're thinking of with the Bulldogs is, have they peaked too early? Have they come in too strong to the season? Because teams that usually start this strong, it's hard to stay consistent. I remember where my mind goes instantly is Sydney. I think this was 2023 when they started incredibly well and then fell off late into the year. So let's hope the Bulldogs aren't like that for the Bulldogs fans. You know, they haven't finished top 4 in like 15 years. Since like the late 2000s. So yeah, I'm going to say the Bulldogs get the job done here. Single figures. We move on to Geelong versus the West Coast Eagles. The West Coast Eagles have actually been a surprise packet this year, winning 2 games in a row. But then they played so poorly. They got beaten by 120 points. I do think they will respond here at Norwood Oval. But Geelong, they're just too classy, they're too experienced. And they want to bounce back after the loss to Hawthorn. So I think that Geelong get the job done here, and pretty comfortably, to be fair. I think it's going to be, I'll say 25 points. And move on to GWS versus Richmond. 2 teams that have been not great, both sitting currently in the bottom 4. And yeah, this is actually, you would hope that Richmond do put a really good fight. I thought they would have performed better against Port Adelaide last week, but they didn't, which is disappointing. I think they will put up a bit of a fight, but GWS, I think, will get the job done here. And one of the most, a win that they really do need. So I think they get the job done here pretty comfortably by 30 points. Move on to the last game of the round, Port Adelaide versus St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. Last year, this was one of the games of the year. I think it was the week before Gather Round last year. They played Port Adelaide versus St Kilda, and it was one of the games of the round. So we're back, and this time it is at Gather Round. And last year it was kind of the opposite. The scripts have kind of flipped. Port Adelaide were, a promising team. They thought they could push top 4 under Ken Hinkley, and St Kilda was destined to be no man's land. Everyone thought they were no good, and St Kilda ended up winning by like 20 points last year. And this time, everyone thinks that St Kilda are going to be a great side this year. Port Adelaide on the down, and who knows what could happen. But I do think St Kilda started to get the ball rolling a little bit after a disappointing last quarter against Brisbane a couple of weeks ago, and I think that they get a job done here by 20 points. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Thanks for watching.